Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created
equal
to the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
James Earl Carter was born on October 1st, 1924. His father ran an agricultural supply store in Plains, Georgia. His mother was a nurse. He was smart enough and tough enough to receive an appointment to the U.S. Naval Academy. Just after graduation in 1946, he married Rosalynn Smith. His naval career took him from battleships to the new nuclear submarine program, but when his father died in 1953, he left the military and returned to Georgia, where he spent the next 2 decades running the family peanut farm business and slowly and steadily beginning a political career that saw him elected governor of Georgia in 1970.
To use an old 1950s term, if there ever was a classic example of an inner-directed man, Jimmy Carter's it.
Jimmy Carter was elected president barely 2 years after the law-breaking and cover-ups of the Watergate scandal forced President Richard Nixon to resign. His candor seemed like a breath of fresh air.
We just want the truth again.
At his best, Jimmy Carter mastered a subject and then led, sometimes very effectively, because of his mastery of its details.
That mastery of details enabled Carter to negotiate the Camp David peace accords, a deal between Egypt and Israel that led to a peace treaty ending decades of war between their countries. His most difficult presidential days came after Iranian militants took dozens of Americans hostage in Tehran in late 1979. They were held for 444 days, and 8 U.S. servicemen died after President Carter ordered an elaborate rescue attempt that failed. The Iran hostage crisis was only one of the challenges that confronted President Carter.
We must face the fact that the energy shortage is permanent.
During Carter's term, Americans endured a sharp, steady increase in oil and gasoline prices, which forced everything to cost more. Jimmy Carter lost the election, but not his resolve to make a difference. He and Rosalynn founded the Carter Center in part to promote peace, democracy, human rights, as well as economic and social development all over the world. When he attended George H.W. Bush's funeral in late 2018, he was the oldest of America's living presidents. He celebrated his own 100th birthday in 2024. His beloved wife, Rosalynn, passed away in 2023. She'd been his steadfast partner through 77 years of marriage. Carter's diminished health prevented him from speaking at her memorial service, so their daughter Amy read a letter he wrote to Rosalynn while deployed with the Navy 75 years earlier.
My darling, every time I have ever been away from you, I have been thrilled when I returned to discover just how wonderful you are. While I am away, I try to convince myself that you really are not, could not be, as sweet and beautiful as I remember. But when I see you, I fall in love with you all over again. Does that seem strange to you? It doesn't to me.
Husband, statesman, a connection to an era now gone, Jimmy Carter was a defender of values forever current.
Well done. That was a nice life. That was a really, really good one. Yeah. The Carters, the idea that we couldn't get 2 terms for a Jimmy Carter in this here country is pretty mind-blowing. It's pretty unbelievable. Only why? Because he put solar panels on the roof of the White House back in the day. It's just, they were so ahead of their time. They've been married longer than most people are alive, than most people live. 77 years of marriage. It's amazing. And, she was diagnosed with dementia, I think, last May. So that was quick. That's good because, we know a lot about dementia versus Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's could last 10 years. It's slow. It's horrible. And so he stopped his cancer treatment. He was going through melanoma, skin cancer. And it had gone to his brain. It had gone to his liver. They got him, I don't know if they got him into remission, but they got him, to actually, I guess it was remission. And then he stopped his cancer treatment, I guess because he knew that she was going and he didn't want to live without her. I mean, people like that don't come along every single day. They just don't. You don't hear stories like that every single day. You don't see people who literally walk the walk. Yes, they were totally, completely uber Christians. In fact, I think their thing was, I know people who know them really, really well because they are giving gods and goddesses. The people that I know that knows them, they were amazing people who brokered peace in this world. Literally, the only holding peace. This is what it's so interesting. Like now, today, in this moment, is to remember that Jimmy Carter was able to make, he was able to make a lasting peace between Israel and Egypt, and it lasted. It worked. It actually is still in place at this very moment. Now, the right wing in Egypt assassinated the Egyptian president, Anwar Sadat, who was the partner in this peacemaking effort that was undertaken and has lasted all these years. And it's incredible. I mean, here we are just, the young people, they don't like, this is what it takes. But, in America, if you're Jimmy Carter, you can't get 2 terms. It's like, it blows my mind. It really does, because obviously, they were exceptional human beings. So the story is that they would read the Bible to each other each and every night, and they would read when they were apart. They would read the same passages wherever they were, so that they were both reading the same thing and thinking the same thoughts at the same time, even if they were apart. I mean, come on, that's beautiful. And when she did this massive tour of Latin America, She was like, the State Department told her, oh, it's not going to work because, these are macho countries and they're not going to want to hear from a woman. And seriously, it's like right out of Barbie. You know what I mean? It's like, real misogyny. It's telling her, don't even bother. Nobody's going to listen to you. And you know what her answer was to that? She said, they're going to want to talk to the president and I'm the next best thing. If they want to talk to him, they should talk to me. And then they will be talking to him because I will tell him what they sent me back to tell him. And, that's how she got accepted, by leaders in Latin America. To forget to remember how much this couple did as ex-president and first lady, they didn't have to do any of it. They didn't have to build, homes for the homeless. They didn't have to start Habitat for Humanity, which, when I had to choose charity, when I was actually making enough money to actually think about, giving, making charitable donations, and I could actually do it. Not anymore. Now I'm thrilled that turkeys are, so much less expensive. I bought my Tom this weekend. Do you know it was 18 pounds for $20? And that was a brand name. I'm just saying, it was a brand name. Factory farmed, yes, but brand name. But when I was in a place where I had to think about, the only charity I really loved, the only one that I really, resonated with, was the Susan G. Komen breast cancer, because my whole family female cancers, including me, but that was before I was somebody who had it too. But it was Habitat for Humanity. That was my charity. That's and I gave big because I really believed in it. I really did. Now I can't. But I used to. So anyway, I think that if you don't know anything about the Carters, like you don't know anything about Hamas, like so many people don't, you should take a brief moment and learn about the Carters.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
We'll be looking at everything from government-funded media programs like NPR that spread nothing but Democrat propaganda. We'll be going into grant programs that fund things like sex apps in Malaysia, toilets in Africa, all kinds of programs that don't help the American people. I want to talk to the people at the Pentagon and ask them why they can't find billions of dollars every single year and why they fail their audit.
This is going to be a talking point about a failed audit at the Pentagon, which the General Accountability Office, they actually do the oversight of waste and fraud, and they've been working with the Pentagon. But hey, you know, you wanted to cut defense programs. This is what she offered up just there, right? But then she goes downshifting into, we're going to get rid of NPR. Never an egg timer around when I need one. This is what I was saying last week. And you know what was going on in the media, the socials this week? The socials. They're so anti-social on his social. I mean, like hate-filled and just full of bile and guile and, you know, gunk and bunk and fake stories and lies. And it's really insane. And then, you know, I did a little experiment because this is Thanksgiving week, you know, and so I don't want to be nauseous after like Wednesday. Actually, I don't want to be nauseous on Wednesday because I have to cook. I cook like all day Wednesday. Prep anything that can be prepped, and then Thursday is the, you know, like the mashed potatoes. People sometimes cook them ahead. Not for me. Not for me. Okay, so that's my day, and I don't want to be nauseous, right? So I watched Fox News yesterday. I know it's a weekend show, but this is where Hedgeseth was birthed. This is where we got Pete Hedgeseth as a nominee to be our SecDef, our Secretary of Deafness or Defense or something. But, you know, they don't, they're promising all these cuts, but I don't hear anybody talking about weapon system cuts. I don't hear anybody talking about Navy contracts, looking into those. I don't hear anybody talking about, you know, like, you know, any of the big ticket items. She's talking about NPR, okay, and toilets. This is just like in yesteryear when we used to get the pork book, you know, the pig book, and it used to have all the pork projects in there, pork barrel projects, and we used to laugh our asses off about, you know, how the government was lobbied to give money to this one or that one, to do ridiculous things like, I don't know, cat porta potties, you know, like really weird stuff. This is the stuff they're talking about, okay? They're talking about the weird little, you know, picking around the edges stuff. They are not interested in doing any of the big stuff, except for media. Okay, so I watched Fox News over the weekend so that I wouldn't be nauseous during the week. And I promise you, they're like laughing their asses off about various things that are serious as a heart attack, like Spinco. Okay, there's a company called Spinco now. So I will tell you this: when people are trying to start new companies and they haven't picked a name yet, in a lot of the documents, it's referred to as NewCo because it's not a named thing yet, right? It's just an idea on paper, and people might, you know, be doing business plans with funding, blah, blah, blah. So it's called NewCo. Well, in this case, it's called Spinco because they're spinning off, Comcast is, MSNBC and CNBC and some the Golf Channel. You know, oh, you're in great company. So Howard will still continue to watch these channels, and that will be your viewer. And won't that be? Yeah, he'll be the viewer. Won't that be swell for you? Won't that be fun? You can market everything to him. Everything. EG meds, arthritis, biologics, everything. Everything that is currently being marketed on that. Just keep on doing it. He'll see them all. It'll be worth every penny you spend. Yeah, so Spinco. So they're talking about buying it. And by them, I mean the bros. The bros are sitting around laughing their asses off, talking about buying MSNBC. Elon Musk, actually, what does it cost? Like he's a normal person, you know, like what does it cost? Like what? You're painting your house? What does that cost? No. What does it cost? I mean, he hates it, but, you know, he hated Twitter too. You know, he will continue to buy things he hates and turn them into his own likeness, turn them into his own image, you know, make them just like him, hateful and, you know, full of crap. So that's what they were doing this weekend. And they were also lying about poor Sarah McBride. You know, to have the whole weight of the U.S. government, the whole weight of media channels, multiple channels, conservative media, just come down on your head. I don't know if you realize who Sarah McBride is. Sarah McBride was just elected to Congress, okay? She didn't run as anything but Sarah McBride. She didn't run as a transgendered person. She didn't run as any sexuality person. She was married to a man. She was a legislator before she was elected to the federal legislation, legislature, the House of Representatives. And, they've been just tearing her apart, saying that she wants to use the women's bathroom and that she didn't run on this. And now that she's there, she is going to triple down on the leftist, woke agenda and force her way into the women's room because that's what she ran to do, which couldn't be further from the truth, okay? That is not what she's about. She didn't run to talk about herself at all. She uses, by the way, because she was a legislator in the state from which she hails, and they do have in Washington, in the House of Representatives, they do have neutral bathrooms. We do too. We have them here. We have a sign on our door that has a half man, half woman. We don't care. We don't care, and we don't care. Know why? There's doors, right? Close the door. Anyway, she uses the neutral bathroom. She told us she uses the neutral bathroom, but this did not stop them from making her into an issue. Why? Because remember, they put $100 million into an ad. Remember, I kept saying, this is the ad I'm seeing all the time. What is with this ad? What is with this ad? Well, they tried to distract people and say this was the issue of our time. Instead of Elon Musk and losing all kinds of, left-leaning organizations or radio that actually interviews people that we might be interested in reading their books, or interviews people whose music we might be interested in knowing how they composed this symphony or how they composed this Broadway show, or what were they thinking when they were editing this movie, whatever. There's a place for that. And it's in our cultural interest to have art and people who make art have a safe place to go and talk about art, or else what is there to write about? You know what I mean? Like, what would there be to even get up in the morning for? So here she is going, well, why did the Pentagon fail their audit? We're going to go after NPR. Why did the Pentagon fail their audit? We're going to go after toilets in Africa, which is part of a U.S. aid program to keep, sanitation alive and well in some very, very, very rural backwoods places in Africa where it's in everybody's best interest not to let disease spread. Case in point, Ebola. Remember that one? How many movies do we make about that? Because it was terrifying, right? Your eyeballs just started, boom, bleeding. Oh, my God. So we're in for something. We're really in for something. I think there's a plan, though. I see one.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, this is what was said on Fox about Sarah McBride, who is a newly elected congresswoman from Delaware. Okay.
I said this on Fox many years ago when the bathroom bill came up in San Francisco. I have a solution that requires no legislation, just common sense and common agreement, which is, I don't care if it's original equipment or aftermarket parts, whatever is in your clothing below the waist, that's the bathroom you use. In the case of Representative McBride, what's in the clothing below the waist is a fully formed man. Therefore, you can go to the neutral bathroom in the halls of Congress, which I have seen for all these years, or you can go to the men's room. But Nancy Mace is spot on about this because it's about setting a tone and making a win on Capitol Hill that then you can take to fight in the state houses and in the other buildings in the federal offices. And Nancy Mace was smart to extend to that. It wasn't an issue during the campaign.
Right.
McBride did not run as an openly transgender, this is what I'm doing. It was subtly placed at times in certain remarks. But what happened is once you got to Capitol Hill, the ideology, the need to plant that flag in the women's room with a man, that's what took over. And good for Nancy Mace. Frankly, she's based on this, and I'm with her.
Oh, my God. Okay, so that is just ugly, okay? It's not true. None of it is true. Nothing about it is true. Sarah McBride from Delaware does use the neutral bathroom. She has absolutely no desire to do anything but use the neutral bathroom. She doesn't want to make people uncomfortable, so that's what she does, and she's been doing that in her state house, where she was a legislator too, forever, okay? Forever. Here she is.
I would like my grace to contrast with the grandstanding that we're seeing right now. I would like my approach of respecting everyone to contrast with the disrespect that we are seeing right now. I'd like people to see my competence in governing contrast with their chaos.
Huh.
Do you follow this rule? Do you adhere to it?
I have already said that I will not use multi-stall women's restrooms in the Capitol. But again, that is my choice here. I always knew that there would be an effort to politicize my use of a restroom. Yeah. And if anyone had thought to ask me about what I was planning on doing, I would have been happy to tell them. Yeah. But again, this is not an issue. And this has never been an issue in this complex. Everything was fine until some members of the small Republican conference majority decided to get headlines and to manufacture a crisis.
There is no crisis. She uses neutral bathrooms. She does not use multi-stall women's rooms. She understood that as a state legislator, that's what she would do, and she did do that. For all the years she was a state legislator. The reason why she ran in the first place has absolutely nothing to do with anything about sexuality, about transitioning from... No, it was because her husband, yes, her husband, was dying of cancer. And she became the primary caregiver for her husband and wanted very much to make inroads on health care at home. That's why she ran, because health care is her top priority. It's her issue. Now, what's interesting is the Republicans, they want to repeal the ACA, and they don't want to talk about that. So they'd rather make an issue of, and let me tell you something, Nancy Mace is actually fundraising off of it, and this is how Fox presents that. Okay, this is so informative if you care about how they twist things. Okay, so Nancy Grace, yeah, that's another one. Nancy Mace, rhymes with Grace, just as backcrap, is fundraising off of this fake issue that she's drummed up about Sarah McBride and bathrooms, because there is no issue about Sarah McBride and bathrooms. And Marge is also very obsessed with bathrooms, but her bathrooms that she's obsessing about are in Africa. This whole party is obsessed with toilets and toileting and everything about it.
Their policies will only endanger more women and girls. It's just ludicrous to me that women who are victims of abuse should be forced to undress or go to the bathroom next to a man. I mean, I can't even. That's why millions of women are supporting me.
It's not happening.
It seems to me, Tammy, that Congresswoman Mace is protecting the safety and the definition of women.
Right, and even in AOC's rant there, she confirmed that women are at risk by men who are in there. It's in certain environments. But there's a reason why we have women-only spaces and why we always have. And it's important, especially for those who have been victims of violence, like Nancy Mace, that there's an understanding of what can occur. So this is largely symbolic. But this is not something Mace started. It's something that the ideological transgender movement, which is different than the identity, has started as a point to make. That is a private women's space, and that's the space they want. And this is about biological men wanting that space. And whether it's that space or spas or anything else, it's not even a fight we should be having. But I respect Nancy Mace for standing up for it, being blunt, making sure that this symbolism that, again, she did not start, starts and stops at the Capitol as no one's going to be standing there, directing this, but it sends a message about what's appropriate, and so good for her.
And this is the hill she is willing to die on. She's also selling merchandise off her stance, Joey. She says the left wants to normalize balls in women's stalls. Hell no, I'm not backing down. Every purchase will help fuel my fight to protect women and girls across America.
She's fundraising off of it, but they present it to their audience as something noble. She's fundraising. She created, this whole ad campaign was literally about 0.6% of the population here in this country. Our government is about to radically change. It's about to be a whole different place. This country is not going to be America. It's going to leave power vacuums, and Elon Musk is going to fill them with his Broligarchs and crypto and no regulations for, his interests. He wants to colonize space. He wants to explore without any rules, without any. So, like if his satellites come crashing down in your backyard, too bad for you. I'm Elon Musk. I'm the leader of the Broligarchy. And, Peter Thiel and Tice, all these people. It's all about cryptocurrency. It's all about undoing the dollar. It's all about crashing our economy, making us an also-ran. The reason why for 80 years America is the primary place that the whole world looks to is because we are the reserve currency of the world and money talks. Well, if they make our money nothing.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Pete Hegseth married his first wife in 2004. Pete Hegseth transitioned from his first marriage to his second marriage by starting an affair during his first marriage. During his second marriage, Pete Hegseth had an affair with someone working at Fox who got pregnant during that affair and had a baby. Pete Hegseth's second wife filed for divorce in September of 2017 upon discovering
a month after
that her husband's girlfriend working at Fox had a baby a month earlier. So Pete Hegseth has a baby with his girlfriend that he met working at Fox in August 2017. His wife files for divorce in September of 2017, and he's in room 528 in October of 2017 with his dog tags, as the police report put it, hovering over her face.
Now, if I had to share a bathroom with Sarah McBride, I'd be fine. If I had to share a bathroom with Pete Hegseth, I would hold it. I wouldn't go. Women know. We don't go in public for a lot of reasons. That would be one of them. That would be one of them. And what the hell goes on at Fox with Billow and Loofah Girls and settlements, 25 million over here and Gretchen Carlson over there and Roger Ailes over here. And, they make movies called Bombshell about all of it. Megyn Kelly, all of them, every single one of them. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, a serial husband, okay? Really. And they're trying to distract you with somebody who is earnest and is just trying to get some decent health care legislation passed through the House of Representatives as a minority party in 2025. She's got a tough road to, I would say, hoe. But if I say hoe, you're going to make me talk about Fat Denny Hastert or Mark Foley or any of the other. Jim Jordan. All, wrestling people, coaches, and boys. Boys, boys, boys. Girls, girls, girls. No, it's Motley Crue. Boys, boys, boys. That's the United States Congress, Republican. So this fear that they're manufacturing is really false. It's really fake. It doesn't exist. There's no need to be afraid of any person in a bathroom unless it's Pete Hegseth, Bill O'Reilly, Jim Jordan, Fat Denny Hastert. He's dead, thank God. Mark Foley. Oh, don't you would say no. Now, if you knew him, you would be like, "Hey, how you doing down there?" Oh my God.
I feel like I know everything I need to know about Fat Daddy
You
Hester
do.
from listening to you over
You
the last
do.
8 years.
You do. But it's a repeating narrative. The story is not fresh. It's not new. It's repetitive. And it seems to always affect Republican congressmen. I mean, everybody remember, what's his face? Toe tapping in the bathroom at the side of the road there? What was he, from Idaho? A senator, no less, okay? And he had to leave in shame. They're all predators. And this is why they want you to look over here. This is why they want you to pick on this person who represents 0.6% of the population in this country versus half of America. And of those half, you got people that keep getting elected to the Republican Senate and people who keep getting elected to the Republican House who have histories of abusing women and boys. I mean, really. So please don't focus on any of that. They're so excited. They're so excited. And I feel so bad for Sarah McBride. I mean, and I feel really bad for a lot of the people that work inside our government because, like I said, they're going to gut it. They're going to take it apart. And then, we're going to vote again in the midterms, and everybody's going to look to us to put it back together. We don't like it. This is no good. Nobody elected Elon Musk. Nobody elected Vivek. Nobody elected Stephen Miller. This guy's a Nazi. Okay, they're all white supremacists. Look what they're doing. I mean, we can't. They're separating, men from their families and women from their children. They're putting them in camps. This is not America. Here, Democrats, we're going to vote for you now. Fix it. You know that's going to happen. You know it is. And so the only thing that we have as Democrats to, do that we know would work in some sort of way is to fight, delay, meaning every civil rights issue, every single one about deportation, every civil rights issue about green card holders or DACA recipients or all of these things. We're going to have to rely on our amazing human rights groups. We're going to rely on the ACLU. We're going to rely on, there's all kinds of groups out there, TODAC, and there's, Derechos de Humanos, which is human rights. There's all groups out there with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lawyers. And they're probably going to, represent people in various states like Arizona, Colorado, places where people are not ready for these camps. They're not ready to see what they're about to see. And when it actually becomes a thing, they're going to recoil in horror, in actual horror. And they, on the other side, are going to sit there and point at Sarah McBride and say she's to blame. You're making us deport these people because of her. And how they're going to construct this, I don't know, but they'll get there. They'll get there. But I mean, it's an amazing. So all we can do is count on the governors of the blue states, the attorneys generals of the blue states who, when Donald Trump first came into office, okay, and he did the Muslim ban. Anybody remember? Anybody recall? Because that was like almost 10 years ago at this point. But he did this Muslim ban, and the ACLU and the human rights groups and a whole bunch of organizations got together and went to court. And what happened is the court doesn't decide right away, as we all know. But while it's deciding, you can ask for it not to continue to do the thing that you're objecting to, mass deportations. And, sometimes that works, and it puts a hold on these deportations. And if you hold it long enough, if we can actually delay long enough, I mean, we learned this one from Trump himself, okay? Nobody can yell at me. This is Donald Trump's MO, okay? It's what he did. And by the way, today, Jack Smith, had to write briefs to the court asking them to dismiss the 2 federal cases. One, the slam dunk case, right, that Aileen Cannon in Florida dismissed based on not the merits of the case, not that Donald Trump stole documents and showed them to people who had no security clearances, and that those documents were very illustrative of our sources, our methods, put America in, a very bad position with people who share intelligence with us, number one. Number two, invited people who had absolutely no reason, no need to know, as they say, to see our war plans for Iran, whatever. Okay, she's now the chief of staff at the White House, Susan Wiles. She was one of those people that saw those documents. But anyway, the document case in Florida, Aileen County dismissed it based on her belief, swear to God, her belief that Jack Smith was not constitutionally appointed. What? Did he steal the documents or not? Says the ordinary man in the street who has to face the bar of justice when he double parks, okay? And that's speedy justice. Believe me, you get the ticket in the mail now. But Donald Trump delayed. So now he has to ask for them to dismiss it with prejudice, meaning dismiss it for now because, and the reason he wrote in the brief, you can't indict a sitting president. And that's the only reason. It has nothing to do with the merits of the case. The merits of the case are still meritorious. They would still prevail in front of a jury. They would still carry the day. However, because we think that you can't indict a sitting president, again, it's a stupid rule, but backed up by now the Supreme Court saying if somebody did something in their official capacity as president, they're immune. Holy crap. Do you understand what you just gave to Donald Trump? Holy, this is going to be, I mean, just wow. But anyway, so he asked to have it, set aside until Donald Trump isn't president anymore. So if he survives his presidency, he can't run again. Unless he suspends democracy, calls it a day. But he can't because he's term limited. So unless he suspends the Constitution, unless he's actually, declaring a national emergency, an insurrection of some sort, we're at war. Because that's what the Insurrection Act is about. It's about being at war, okay? And if he does that thing, he could stay. And he also had to dismiss the New York case, the January 6th case, the Washington federal case. He's going to continue to prosecute the conspirators, the people who partnered with Trump, but he can't continue to prosecute Trump because Trump is going to be president of the United States. You see what I mean? Okay, so that happened today. So all we have to do is learn from that and use that tactic, that one alone, of delay, and maybe we can stave off these mass deportations.
Mary had a little man. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
And Tom Homan, you got a very, very powerful weapon that the Democrats, when they're in power, use against Republican administrations, state and local, all the time. Federal funding. Huh. If you have a governor who says, I'm not going to cooperate, I'm going to block you, well then, federal funds should be slashed to that state, and I mean hugely so that people of that state understand that the governor is the responsible party, that the mayor's the responsible party. They can beat their chest to being sanctuary cities all they want. They're part of the United States, whether they like it or not. This is a federal issue. Even the governor of Texas, he's the one trying to enforce federal law against the Biden administration. That won't. But these states, much like the Confederacy, they want to go on their own. They want to do their own thing. To me, you've got a powerful weapon, among others, which is okay, no federal funds. Boom. Last thoughts.
And that's going to happen. I guarantee you, President Trump will do that.
Oh, my God. So much for states' rights from the conservatives now. I mean, there's no such thing as states' rights anymore. Now you have to actually shake down and extort the blue state governors with federal funding or else. Because they're going to mass deport people in California. They're going to mass deport people in Pennsylvania. They're going to mass deport people in Colorado. And they don't give a rat's ass whether or not states have the right to not participate in a federal mass deportation. Well, here's the answer. States have every right to not participate in a federal mass deportation. The feds cannot ask the states to do a federal job. It's a federal job. Immigration is a federal issue. It's something the president does, unfortunately or fortunately. But to extort blue states because they're going to say, I don't want to participate in this. You can't use our land. You can't use our transportation system. You can't use interstate commerce. Interstate commerce. That's a great example. Okay, so what's interstate commerce? What does that mean? You know, a bottle of ketchup? Interstate commerce. Why? Tomatoes are grown over here. Bottles are made over there. Sugar over here in Florida. And when they put it all together, everything has to go over a state line to get interstate commerce. And now they want to do it with people. Listen, I got news for you. The states have every right to not participate in a federal operation. Every single right to do it. And you know what? The libertarian types are not thrilled with this. In fact, I know for a fact that Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, they're not interested in this issue at all as far as getting involved in it or making sure it happens. No, these are the haters. And the only thing that they know about this issue is that it does actually drive people to vote for the Republican Party over and over and over again. But otherwise, these are libertarian types. They don't want to see the military involved in governing. They don't want to see states' rights knocked away. You know, they don't want to see more feds. They want to see less feds. They're not interested in bigger government. They're interested in teeny tiny. In fact, they're interested in no government. Let's not. And you know, this whole thing with Ayn Rand and Paul Ryan and this whole infatuation that they've had with Atlas Shrugged all these years. You know, that book, I have to tell you, if you're over 15 and you still love that book, there's something freaking wrong with you. There just is. That is just, that is the sickest, most twisted version of America there could ever be. America with no government, what would it look like? Somalia! And that's where we're headed. And that's why the Democratic governors have every right to resist, to say no, not allow federal troops to cross into their borders. Okay, so for instance, if the governor of Colorado isn't going to, let his National Guard be federalized, right? He's objecting to that. That has to go to court. And like I said, you know, the answer, we don't want the answer right away, and they don't give you an answer right away. What they do is they stay the case or they block the implementation of the policy pending a decision like 80 years from now. That's good. That's what you want to see happen, okay? And governors have every right to do that. They have every right to, resist. They have every right to say, we're not federalizing our Colorado National Guard, no. And so if you bring Arizona's National Guard into Colorado, you're violating our state's rights. We don't want them here, and we won't let them come in. You're going to have all these border disputes between the states. They are creating so much chaos. And why? Like I said, the bros don't really care about this issue. All they know about this issue is that this issue energizes people to go and vote for them and their sick libertarian agenda of no government. And what does that mean? Well, that means no check for the people in Scioto County. No check, no disability check, no Social Security check, no Medicare check, no Medicaid check, no child tax credit, nothing. Nothing comes your way. Nothing at all comes your way. That's the kind of government they're for. And why? Because they want to throw this country into abject chaos so that we can't self-govern anymore, and therefore people won't do business with us. We're going to deport millions of people, according to them. The economy is going to crash, obviously. Supply chains will be broken yet again. And, you know, there are people in this country who have green cards who are terrified that they will be scooped up in this. And, you know, people with green cards do things like neuroscientist, software engineer, high-skilled brainiacs. A lot of them are currently students. A lot of them are currently working in the sciences. A lot of them are working in the software arena. A lot of them are working in the maintenance of the infrastructure of this country. A lot of them are doing quality control. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to go after the green card holders. That's like the people who prove that they have skills that we need, but they're terrified too, because they're not citizens, and he's saying, I'm deporting everybody. And Elon's all about it only because if America's economy crashes, the dollar is worthless, and they want a world of crypto because they own it. And they're now in charge. Period. It's not that complex. Lawnmower Man. I never knew it would be so complex. But this is exact. And by the way, they're also going to defund schools. So there's a couple of things that happen along that line. Okay, so we explained to you last week that if they abolish the Department of Education, they're very busy abolishing things. So if they abolish the Department of Education, with it goes, the Department of Education doesn't control what's taught in your school, okay? That's local. That's your local school board, okay? That has nothing to do with the federal government. See, states' rights. So they want to abolish the Department of Education, whose only role is finance. Finance. They run the whole student loan, $1 trillion loan program. They do a lot of university grants. They do a lot of online education, make sure that there's gainful employment, that the actual online thing that you're paying $36,000 to go to is teaching you something usable in real life. That's kind of what the Board of Education does. Now, they also send 14% of your local school budget to your local school. If they get rid of the Department of Education, you're 14% down. 14% down. Now, in places like Texas and Oklahoma, they want to take from the public school coffers money for vouchers to send kids to private school or to send kids to religious school. So schools are about to take it really, really hard. And so here come the religious freaks. We'll pay you $60 a child for every child you enroll in biblical studies from K through 5. $60.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Now in the Texas School Board, which voted this week to incentivize public schools to use an optional curriculum that incorporates Bible lessons. It began earlier this year in your home state of Oklahoma, which required schools to have Bible in classes and include the 10 Commandments in lessons. You are a pastor, you are a public official. Both of these issues are very near and dear to your heart. Do you think it's appropriate to incorporate religion into public education like that?
Well, let me tell you a couple things that we're doing in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, we're allowing students to be able to do off-campus religious education. If they want to have actual religious education, they can do that off-campus. It's an elective like choir or band or any other number of electives that are out there, art. They can get a chance to be able to do also off-campus religious education. So any conversation about the Bible shouldn't be a religious tone. I know that my Christian faith has impacted my life dramatically, and I am the primary teacher to my children of my faith. That shouldn't be a public school teacher to do that. But saying that, the Bible is also a part of Western civilization and part of our founding. Many of our founders were very passionate about Scripture and about the Bible and studied it. So as a historical document, as a cultural document, it absolutely should be taught in schools. As a religious document, that's up to parents and to faith leaders off campus.
So James Langford from Oklahoma, who is extremely conservative, as you can see from his answer, okay, is not for mandatory Bible study in K through 5. He thinks it should be off campus. It should be something that's kind of like band or choir, chorus, or theater, or any of those electives that electives that kids can take when they're in elementary school and not part of the curriculum. However, there is a company and their name is Bluebonnet, and they are going to offer, because it's like I said, local decisions, Texas school board, and it's Texas, but when they voted, it was like 6-7 on the school board. So it was completely divided about whether or not to do this thing. But they want to serve up for you white Christian nationalism on a silver platter. That's the faction that, is represented by, I don't know, the Steve Bannons of the world, the Tim Pools of the world, the freaky guy, what's his name, from the one that was screaming, it's your body, my choice, right? They're all white Christian nationalists. So the Texas school board went to a vote, and 6-7, they voted to let teachers teach the Bible to students,
Fuentes, right?
Yeah, Nick Fuentes. To teach the Bible to students in K-5, and they will pay, Bluebonnet, the company, will pay the Texas school $60 for each student that is enrolled in this religious curriculum. Now, of course, you have to starve the schools of funds so that they are looking everywhere for a couple of bucks to buy chalk for the blackboard and books for the desks. And so this is kind of like do away with the Board of Education, minus 14% for the schools in every state, because that's what the federal Board of Education is responsible for. It sends 14% of all the states' school money to the states, 14%, okay? And then give vouchers taken from the public funds in Texas and Oklahoma to parents who don't want their kids to go to public school. Let them take the money and let it follow the student into private schools, which we don't like. And we've never liked it, and we didn't really allow it, and now it's happening. So now the schools who have to take every student that shows up, you understand, right? Public schools are required to take children with disabilities and teach them. They're required to take children who are not citizens and teach them. They're required to take students who don't speak English as a first language and teach them English as a second language, ESL, right? And they are going to be starved for money. Now, unless and until the parents of the disabled kids actually show up and say, what do you mean you're not taking my student? What do you mean my child doesn't get to go to public school anymore? No, I'm sorry, we just can't afford it anymore. We just can't do it. They will be scraping the bottom of the barrel to find funds, and $60 per student is suddenly going to be an amount. It's going to be something that they can say, all right, let's take the 60. And they're going to teach the story of the King of the Jews, if you ask me, Jesus Christ. They're going to teach his story as being a Christian story. That's fine if you're Christian. If you're not, it's not fine. And they're not going to allow for any other view, no other religion. And, the parents of people who aren't, Bible-thumping Christians, who aren't, evangelical Christian types who, don't want the Bible to be used to teach prosperity gospel, you're out of luck. You're SOL, baby. Because you know what? This is going to be a source of some income to replace everything that's going out the door. Everything that's going out the door. Does it violate the U.S. Constitution? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Will it alienate students who aren't white Christian nationalists? Yes, it will. What about teachers who are of other faiths? Yes, it will alienate them too. Will they want to be forced to teach this version of a religion that doesn't comport with anything that they think is valid in their lives, or to kids that can't relate to it or are frightened by it? The Bible's pretty, it's pretty heavy duty. Do you know what I mean? Like, are we going to downshift from the Sermon on the Mount right into the apocalypse? I mean, how does this go? You're going to open the 7 seals on graduation day of 5th grade? I mean, what are we talking about here? But this is for financially distressed schools to consider teaching a Bible-based curriculum. Seriously. But it's not a Bible. It's their Bible. And it's not a version, it's their version. And you know what's really interesting is if you look at the founding fathers, like some of them actually had their own version of the Bible. Yes, Tom Jefferson, he was one of those. He was very persnickety about what he wanted in his Bible. So he crafted his own. And you know what he did? He took all the supernatural stuff out of his. Like the miracles? Yeah, didn't want that in the Thomas Jefferson Bible. So it ain't in there. It's not in there. Ben Franklin, now he was a codger, okay? He was really a curmudgeon. He left the whole thing behind and he became a Freemason. Yeah, he decided he believed in supernatural stuff and he wasn't finding what he was looking for in the Bible supernatural stuff. So he became a Freemason. You see what I mean? And they're going to say, the founding fathers, it was part of our biblical heritage. And, they all look to the Bible for inspiration. Which Bible? Tom Jefferson's Bible, Ben Franklin's version, Madison's. What are we talking about here? The one that you get $60 for. Oh. Prosperity gospel. Got it. White Christian nationalism? Yeah. You better be for it.
Call in, connect.
Yeah.
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, 33 after. Okay, so it is Thanksgiving week. I just wanted to let you know we will be here tomorrow, and then we won't be. And then we won't be. And that's what I'm thankful for. The won't be part. Oh, God, we need such a break. We really do. So, and you do too. You do too. And remember, then there's Black Friday, and you don't have to be with your creepy cousin on Black Friday, so go shopping. Go do that. All right, Alan in Michigan.
Yeah, I had a thought about this Texas teaching in the Bible of the classrooms. The teachers could teach Matthew 25, which the big churches don't go along with. And Matthew 25 teaches heal the sick and feed the poor. So they could spend a whole September on you know what I'm saying. Anyway, that's my comment.
Yeah, thanks. The Ten Commandments, they wouldn't even get past that. Okay, they could not. They're Republicans. They could not possibly get past do unto others. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't, because in the middle of all this Bible stuff is going to be mass deportations. And a lot of these kids are going to have friends, especially in Texas and, in Oklahoma. They're going to have friends who suddenly are in camps, and not the good kind, not the summer kind, the soft-sided kind. This is what they're going to call them, by the way. The camps, the detention centers, they're going to call them soft-sided mass detention camps. Make it sound fun or something like that. I mean, they can't possibly own the Bible. They couldn't possibly teach it without modeling it, and they can't model it because they're charging $60 a head to hear it. So right there, it's just bull crap. Right there, it's value. They put a price on the Bible. And here's the creepy part. In Oklahoma, they want to use the Trump Bible. They want to make orders for Donald Trump's Lee Greenwood Bible. That's the one that they want to buy to make Donald Trump even more wealthy. I mean, it's so sick. This is such a merry-go-round of hypocrisy that it's you almost have to laugh at it. It's just so bizarre. It's the strangest things. When James Langford from Oklahoma is sitting there telling you, I think religion needs to be taught in a separate off-campus setting. I don't think it should be part of the school curriculum. I think it's because he understands this is a slippery slope and that we're 2 seconds away from Donald Trump being the Messiah and that being taught to kindergartners, okay? And everybody knows it. Everybody understands it. But, if you wanted to teach your kids about values, your values, if you wanted to teach your kids you heal the sick and that it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle, teach them that. That's what you're for. That's your role as a grandparent, as a parent, as a sister, brother, aunt, uncle. I just can't even imagine like what Mormon students are going to have to go through. I cannot imagine the idea that there are so many different views about religion in this here country, but they're only going to teach the white Christian nationalist version of it is pretty scary and sickening. And that they're doing it for $60 a head tells you what version it is. And that Oklahoma's, Secretary of Education is literally saying he wants to order the Trump Bibles and use those as the textbooks. I got to tell you, this is where we're going, though. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not talking about the religious teaching, okay? Although there's plenty of that in this country already to go around. So if they start charging $60, or they start paying $60 a head to enroll students in public Bible-based curriculum in Texas and in Oklahoma, using the Trump Bible, by the way, as the textbook, you're in foreign territory. You know that you're doing something that's totally anti-constitutional. So why do we separate church and state? So we can have both. That's why. Some people really like both. Some people love church and some people love the state and the orderliness, and they pay taxes because they believe it's the price of a civilized society, and they're all about it. And other people don't want either, and other people want one but not the other. Because we're a democracy, it gets to be all iterations depending on what you want in your house. This is all about to go away, and how do I know that? I'm reading today about how Elon Musk, swear to God, who is the president, by the way, just disabuse yourself of any other notion. Elon Musk is the president of the United States until Donald Trump actually tells him he's not. Right now, he's sitting in on foreign leaders' calls. He's not just the Zelensky call, but Orban in Hungary, other heads of state. He's on all the calls, okay? He's on all the calls, Elon is. And he's, picking guys he wants to be in charge of the Treasury. He lost that fight, but he got one guy. He's going to be the Secretary of Commerce, Lutnick, the one that Elon was on stage with, and Lutnick said to him, "How much can you cut out of the U.S. budget?" And he said, "Oh, I think we could do $2 trillion. Yeah, that guy. He's now the Secretary of Commerce. And what they're about is not commerce. They're about cutting. They're about taking, not making. And it's so much easier to break things. And that's what tech bros do. It's like their mantra. We break things. It's like their marketing slogan. That's what they do. They disrupt and they break. And they got the American people, some of them, turned on by breaking America. In the name of putting America first, they're going to break America. I don't know how people can hold those two thoughts in their head, but this is where they are. So Elon Musk has now engaged in intimidation, seriously, threats against little-known directors of the EPA and of, the Department of Education, people who literally are civil servants, okay? They're just doing a job. So there's a person, her name's Ashley. I won't tell you her last name, but if you know her last name, it's because of Elon Musk. She's a very little-known director of climate diversity at the U.S. International Development Financial Corps, okay? She was targeted by Elon Musk, who called her and her job fake. That tweet got 32 million views. It spawned a flood of memes making fun of her, mocking her, intimidating her, telling her that her job was going to be over soon, and so would she. That's threatening. This is what Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss went through with Rudy Giuliani, okay? But now you've got the owner of the largest propaganda machine God ever put on this planet. And he's targeting little-known people who just do a job every day at little-known divisions inside of our government, plucking out their name, putting it on the internet, and telling people she's your problem. And randomly, randos are attacking her. Now, can you imagine having your name be seen and threats coming to you from 32 million views? when you were just an ordinary bureaucrat.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
I'm not in favor of sending the Army in uniforms into our cities to collect people. I think it's a terrible image, and that's not what we use our military for. We never have, and it's actually been illegal for over 100 years to bring the Army into our cities. Army and our military are trained to shoot the enemy. They're not trained to get a warrant to do what they're doing. The police have a difficult job, but the people removing people from our country need to be a police enforcement domestic agency, not the military. I'm all for remain in Mexico, I will not support an emergency to put the Army into our cities. I think that's a huge mistake.
So does that mean it's going to happen? Because if it's the worst thing that could happen, then it's probably something that Stephen Miller and Donald Trump would love to do. It's just like, it's great. But yes, it would be illegal. And again, this is what I'm saying. So the Democratic governors, the blue state governors, and there's 23 blue state governors, okay? 23 are within their rights to refuse to allow a federal army in their territory, on their territory, to collect people in uniform. So there's that, okay? There's that. Plus, now you got to realize Elon Musk is singling people out inside the government, like people who are, very mid-level and below, getting their names and putting it on the internet and saying she's who's causing all this, bloat in the government. Have you ever seen a weapons system you would vote against, Elon? Have you ever seen, a rocket, that you would vote against, Elon? No, let's go after some woman who works in the International Development Financial Corps. Her role is climate diversity. That just means using everything we got to power ourselves with, energy, all kinds of energy. And he targeted, this is nothing new, okay? He targeted, when he took over Twitter, there was a guy there. His name was Yoel Roth, okay? I wonder how many people, tech people in this audience might actually say, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, he was the head of trust and safety at Twitter, and he had recently left Twitter when Musk bought it. And so incorrectly, Elon Musk tweeted about him that it looked like, and this is really sick, okay? He said, it looks like Roth has argued in favor of children being able to access adult internet services. Basically saying Yoel was a pedophile or sympathetic to pedophiles or aiding and abetting pedophiles to be pedophiles. And it was so unbelievable. But people saw it and they started posting to kill him. And he had to move out of his house temporarily. And the same thing is happening to people who are being threatened by Elon Musk within the government. And it happened to Shay Moss. It happened to Ruby Freeman. That's all it takes is to own one of the world's largest propaganda machines ever known to man and put someone's name on it and point at them and say, they're your problem, do something about it. And all of a sudden, they can't live in their house anymore. This woman here that I'm telling you about, so I don't want to give her the last name, she had to move out of her house too. This is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to intimidate. This is how they're going to target. And by the way, Vivek Ramaswamy, he has a way to get people out of the government. Do you know what his way is? This is so random. This is such a random act of debauchery. He wants to remove people from civil service by virtue of their social security number. Meaning, if your social security number ends in an odd number, you have to go. See, that's a WTF thing, isn't it? Yeah, and that's really just people at random suggesting that they should just do it based on their social security number because they want to slash 75% of the civil service workforce, and they don't know how to go about it, so they're just going to choose people at random. If your social security number starts or ends with an odd number, you're out. You're out. What good can come from this? What good can come from this? Do you really think that you're going to be, your money's going to be returned to you in some fashion? Do you really think that that is going to happen? Because I say no. I say that money goes up the totem pole, not down the totem pole. I don't think it rains on you. They're just going to pee on you, and you're going to think it's raining, but all the money is going to go to them. To them. Our economy, conversely, will crash, and that's because that's the goal. That's the goal. Hollowing out our government, hollowing out our workforce, at the same time will produce the result that supply chains are broken, food is poisoned, people who do necessary jobs, there's no one going to answer the phone, and nobody's going to want to do business here. Who wants to do business here? Okay, the people that want to do business here, the foreign companies or companies that could go anywhere on the planet but choose to do it here, they do it because of law and order. They do it because there's a reliability about the United States. They do it because our banking system is secure. They do it because our economy is secure. They do it because our supply chains are dependable. They do it because there's not exorbitant VAT taxes or tariffs. When they need to go and get parts, or when they need to go and get rare earth minerals, and all this is about to just go poof up in smoke, and people will not want to be here. They will not want to do business here. People that do business here, that are from here, won't want to be here and won't want to be in business here because there's no rules. There won't be any law. Fraud, cheating, stealing. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? Seriously, what are you going to do about that? Asani in Michigan.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't know how you do what you do.
You're a
honestly,
teacher. I don't know how you do what you do.
No, Randy. Honestly, I don't know how you do it. I just want to say something. Randy, look, I just bought a new house before the election. The wife is pregnant.
Oh.
But to have a girl, hopefully in August. This is my first child with her.
Yeah.
And they were so excited. Everything was good until Donald Trump win the election.
Yeah.
Right. I drive the bus, and at age 15, I go to my class. I teach for the ESL. Earlier, you said something about the ESL. I'm an ESL teacher. I teach English.
Are? Okay.
Yes, I teach for 3 years. I've been doing that. ESL, I teach English, and I also teach social study. Right?
Okay.
Randy, the next day, the day after the election, I came to class. I have so many kids who were so scared. It seemed like they were just waiting for me, right? I'm like, okay, what's going on, guys? And they start asking questions. Mr. Son, Donald Trump win. Because I told them, no, you guys going to be fine. Trump ain't going to win. The woman going to win, right? And they're like, Mr. Son, you say the woman going to win. I'm like, well, it happened, it happened. Now they start asking me questions. All I can do is like, okay, say you guys going to be okay. And the crazy thing, like, it got so bad, I have to be very, very careful about what I say, especially. I know I have some friend teachers who are listening because I got them hooked up to the free TV, on the TV they're watching. I called the coordinator of the program. The program name is ESL Newcomer. I told him we have to do something. The district have to do something. These kids are scared. He's like, whoa, we're talking about it right now. Like the leadership will meet. Right. And Randy, all I can do is just like see who are the more vocal. The more vocal students, the ones who are very scared, are the Afghani, right? And I'm like, why they are so scared? And I teach the parents too. I have parents class for Tuesday night after 5 to 8, Tuesday and Thursday night. Now, I talked to some of the parents. They're like, well, Mr. San, did you remember, with a broken English, when Donald Trump was president, he liked the Taliban. He bring Taliban to America. I forgot about that, but they remember that. And they are the most scared that Trump will take them, the Afghans especially, will give them to Taliban again.
Oh, are they Afghans?
Yes, I have Afghans, I have Syrian, I have African, I have South America. I have too many kids. But the more scared, the more vocal are the Afghani student and Afghani parents.
Yeah,
they are the ones.
He is looking to deport them. There's just no question about it. He really is.
And it's crazy. And the only thing you can say is just like, you guys going to be all right. And they're like, what, Mr. Hassan, you going to help? I say, Yeah, we'll do what we can. They say.
So you're lucky in this weird way. You're in Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer is your governor, and she's going to try to protect every single kid in her state, because that is who she is. That is what she does. So you can sort of calm them and soothe them and teach them a little bit about states' rights and the governor versus immigration, which is federal, and it's Trump's area. It's not Gretchen Whitmer. She can protect. And that's what we're going to try. I mean, you know, listen, they're going to be much more aggressive than they were last time. It's going to happen much quicker than it happened last time with the Muslim ban. But we're going to fight back harder.